Welcome to the 7th chapter of the book of Mark. Begins in verse 1. Ke synagonte prosauton e Pharisei ke tenus ton grammateon. And gathered together to him the Pharisees and some of the scribes, the grammateon, gramma writers. In this case, writers of the law. Elthontes apo Ierusolimon, having come from Jerusalem. Verse 2. Ke idontes tinas ton mathiton aftu kines hersi, and they beholding, the scribes and Pharisees, certain ones of his disciples, the mathiton, mathematics, learners, disciples, with common hands, tutestin aniptis, that is to say, unwashed, esthiontas artus, eating bread, emempsanto, they complained, because these men have these traditions that we'll say here in verse 3, Igar Pharisei ke pantus they, for the Pharisees and all the Jews, ean me pigmi nipson te tas hieras uk estiusi, unless they washed hands with a fist, they do not eat. Hieras, their hands. So they make a fist and they have a certain way of washing. Kratuntus tin paradosin ton presbyteron, holding the tradition of the presbyteron, the elders. A Presbyterian is an elder. Verse 4. Ke apo agoras, and from the markets, apocentric, from the center, and the agora, the markets, ean me baptisonte, if they should not immerse. Here's the word for the baptism. It's not being poured on or sprinkled, but immersing it. Uk estiusi, they do not eat. Ke ala pola estin a paralavon kratin, and many other things there are which they take on themselves to hold. Baptismus poterion, immersion of cups. Ke xeston, and quart pitchers. Ke halkion, brass kettles. Ke klinon, and beds, and metal beds, and so forth. And of course, they don't immerse a bed, so I guess the argument right here would be or maybe they did. Maybe it was the bedding. I'm not really sure, and not being Jewish and that much into the laws, and I can't really say what exactly the klinon is. Not necessarily a metal bed. It's just whatever they lay on. In verse 5, it continues, Epita eperotosin afton e Pharisei ke e grammatis. Thereupon the Pharisees and the scribes asked him, Theati e mathite su u peripatusi katatin. Why do your disciples not peripatusi, peripatetics, people that walk, according to the paradosin ton presbyteron, the tradition of the elders. Alla aniptis hersin estiusi ton arton, but with unwashed hands they eat bread. So they're finding this fault. In verse 6, O they apokrithis epen aftis oti, and he answering said to them that, Kalos proephetevson Isaias periimon ton hypokriton. Well, Isaiah prophesied concerning you, the hypocrites. This is Isaiah 29:13. And then the hypokriton is a direct transliteration into English, a hypocrite. As it has been written, gegrapte. Utos oleos tis helisi me tima. This people esteem me with the lip. The helesi is a chilopod, helopod, chilopod, lipped foot creature. They esteem me with the lip. Ide cardia afton poro apechi ap emu. But their heart, the cardiac arrest, cardiac, is far from me, off at a distance from me. In verse 7, matin they sevonte me. In vain they worship me. Now here I use the word worship. In the King James it's used many places for proskenevo, which it means to lay down, do obeisance. But here, this sevonte is a true word for worship. They worship me. Didaskontes, didaskalias, and taumata anthropon, teaching as instructions the precepts of men. The didactics for both of these words is a derivative. The precepts of anthropon, anthropology, is a derivative. Verse 8, Aphentis gar tin entolin tu theu, for leaving the commandments of God, kratite tin paradosin ton anthropon. You hold the tradition of men. And if you want to do all these studies of what it's all about, there's this book called the Mishnah, and it's I have it right here. It's the Danby's edition by, I believe it's Oxford Press. And it goes, it's Oxford University Press, and it goes into all of these different sayings of the different rabbis, even the ones around the time of Jesus. And you can go into the place here a little bit. We're going to be going into about vows, the Horban, and do studies in that. I have it, and it's pretty deep. You probably wouldn't want to spend a whole lot of time on it unless you're Jewish, because it's really gets into the nitty-gritty of the Jewish traditions. Anyway, and you hold the tradition of men. These are not of God. Baptismus xeston ke poterion ke alla paromia, and other such similar things, tiavta, pola piete, many things, similar things you do. Verse 9, ke elegan aftis, kalos ethetite, tin entolin tu theu. And he said to them, well, you annul the commandment of God. Ina tin paradosin imon tirisite, that you give heed to your tradition. Verse 10, Moises gar ipe, and Moses said, and this would be in Exodus 20, 12 to 16, and Deuteronomy 5, 16 to 20, Tima ton patera su, esteem your father, the paternal. Ke tin mitera, maternal, su, your mother. Ke o kako logon, patera I mitera, thanato televtato. Let the one speaking evil of father or mother come to an end in death. Kaka is bad, and logon, words, logic. So derivatives, you can look that up in English Derivatives book. In verse 11, Imis they legate, but you say, Ean epi anthropos to patri eti mitri. If a man should say to his father or to a mother, Horvan, now this you can see in the, it has to do with something that's vowed, in a vow offering, gift offering, which is thoron, which is a thoron, a free will offering. O ean ex emu, opheli this, whatever of me you should derive benefit. So it's sort of, from what I gather, is that you're saying that this is going to be an offering, so therefore you can't use it to help your parents. Verse 12, Ke uketi afiate afton, u then piise to patri aftu, e to mitri aftu. And no longer you allow him to do anything to his father or to his mother. This thing is set aside, and so they can't use it to help the parents.